Good morning, Mets fans, and welcome to a Friday edition of Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and boy, our Mets are just having an interesting season. Yesterday, the Mets, with the same futile offense that couldn't score a run for Jacob deGrom basically all season long, the same futile offense broke a franchise record, scoring 24 runs in one game yesterday. In fact, over the course of two games, the Mets scored, 44 runs? Or 2 days, rather, 44 runs. They couldn't score that many runs in the entire month of June. Crazy how this season has been unfolding. But I want to talk a little bit about the games yesterday, and I'll do that on this video. Had the Mets lost both of yesterday's games, I think I would have kicked this off and referred to this as an "Oh Crud" edition of Driving with Mr. Met. The "Oh Crud" was, of course, the curse word that Brandon Nimmo was able to muster up after he had his finger smashed on a check swing. After an at-bat in the first game yesterday. And interestingly, unfortunately, there was no damage found in the MRI. He was okay, or X-ray, whatever he had, was found to be okay. And hopefully he'll just miss a game or two and not a whole lot more than that. But anyhow, Nimmo was in the process of having an unbelievable stretch, not unlike the one he had earlier this season, before once again he got plunked, or previously he got plunked by Rich Hill of the Dodgers, and after that he went on a little bit of a tailspin. I hope that's not the case here for Brandon, because he was really starting to come into himself after having that huge 5-hit game the night before in Baltimore. He seems to be a little bit more comfortable at the plate than he had been previously, so I hope that he doesn't miss an extended period of time because of this injury or non-injury. Someone else who's been very comfortable at the plate is Amed Rosario. Amed Rosario has quietly been putting together, at least for me, he's been quietly putting together a pretty nice offensive stretch right now, where he is an absolute spark plug at the top of the Mets lineup, and he's doing the things that I think we all hoped he would be able to do as the shortstop for this Mets team and as the leadoff hitter for this Mets team, something that they sorely missed over the last couple of years. Curtis Granderson did his very best and admirably filled in as a leadoff hitter, but he never really was a leadoff hitter, a true leadoff hitter, a true table setter, as Keith would call him. In Amed Rosario, the Mets might actually have that. And as he continues to mature, and I hope he does, I'd love to see him take better at-bats, longer at-bats, draw more walks. But he's young, and that's something that he'll learn, hopefully, as he continues to accrue playing time in the major leagues. So the first half of yesterday's doubleheader was on Facebook Watch. I like the idea, and I especially like it when the Mets play the Phillies, because I'm not blacked out somehow. I don't quite understand how the blackout restriction does not apply for Facebook. I don't get it, but whatever. I just like that I could actually see the game, because I certainly could not see the second half of the doubleheader, because I'm blacked out of everything in the Philly market where I live. So anytime the Mets play the Phillies, whether they're at Citi Field or at Citizens Bank Park, I don't get to watch. Actually, that's not true. This Sunday, the Mets are going to be on ESPN playing the Phillies in Williamsport, so that I will get to watch. But anyway, first half of the doubleheader was on Facebook Watch. I'm still not quite there with it. I was able to install the Facebook Watch, or the Facebook app rather, on my Apple TV, and watch the game on my TV in the house, which was cool when I got home from work. But you know, at the office I was watching on my phone, because the feed on my computer was really delayed. Like, the audio was 5 or 6 seconds delayed. I don't know if that happened to anybody else, but it was annoying as hell to me, so I couldn't stand it. I had to turn it off of the computer and just put it on my phone. But in any event, what I wanted to say about the first game was that it was historic. The Mets set a franchise record, scoring 24 runs in one game. They bested a previous record of 23, which I don't know why. I thought the 2006 Mets had one of those offensive outburst games. I know they had that huge game in Chicago where there were the 2 grand slam where Valentin had like 7 RBIs in the game. But I guess they didn't score more than 23 runs on that day. But they certainly did yesterday, and they did it with this, makeshift lineup. And I mentioned Rosario, I mentioned Nimmo. I should mention Kevin Plawecki also. It's a small sample size, but Plawecki's been looking pretty decent at the plate. He's been making really solid contact. He's had a few home runs sprinkled in there, but personally, I'd like to see Plawecki get to be that like gap-to-gap doubles hitter that I think he's always profiled to be. I don't know that he's ever looked to be like a slugging catcher, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Plawecki, and I hope that it's not the case that I'm just getting my hopes up again, kind of like I have with Travis d'Arnaud, like every year. Since like 2014, thinking that d'Arnaud was like the next Mike Piazza. But the bottom line with Plawecki is that he's fit in nicely with Rosario and Nimmo. Austin Jackson has been just outstanding. Jose Bautista in that first game yesterday had 7 RBIs after coming in off the bench to take Brandon Nimmo's spot in the game. So just an unbelievably poorly played game by the Phillies, and the Mets took advantage. And they usually don't take advantage of things like that. Like, other teams will sort of gift wrap things for them, and the Mets will figure out a way to screw it up. They didn't do that this time, so that's good, right? That's a silver lining that we can all take from the game. Second game was not quite as positive as the first, although I will say the Mets did scratch and claw and stay in the game until the very last out, which is also nice to see. But Steven Matz made his return from the DL, and he sort of picked up right where he left off. Interestingly, the last time we saw Steven Matz on a mound was when the Mets lost and gave up a 20-plus spot to their opponents. It was the game that the Nationals beat the Mets 25-4. So that was Matz's last appearance. He gave up, I don't even remember, like 11 runs in 2 innings or something. Not even 2 innings. And he was on pace to do that last night, it seemed, if Mickey hadn't given him the quick hook and gotten him out of the game. But I'm hoping that Matz is fine. I'm hoping that he doesn't come out today and say, like, my pinky hurts or something. He's got to get healthy and stay healthy. And we all know that Matz has the tools to be in the conversation with DeGrom and Syndergaard and now Wheeler. The question is, can he stay on the friggin' field? And we haven't seen his ability to do that at all. And just when it seems like he's turning a corner and he's about to figure something out, he gets hurt. And it's annoying. Really, really annoying. But where was I going with that? I don't even know. Matz is back, I guess, is where I was going with it. Results of last night's game, not so great. But there's always tonight. I'm not sorry. There's always next week, is what I meant to say. As far as tonight, Noah Syndergaard on the mound for the Mets. So it'll be interesting to see how Noah fares at Citizens Bank Park. I have a bad feeling about this start for Syndergaard. I don't know why, but I do. And I've been sort of harping on the fact that Noah hasn't been his dominant self. But he's still winning. I mean, I think that I read something like he's won 7 straight decisions or something like that. He hasn't lost in 7, I don't know, since whatever. He hasn't lost in a while. He's been really, really good. And I'm looking at it like me. I think he's been more fortunate than good. But we'll see. Let's see what he does with the Phillies lineup tonight. Or in my case, let's hear what he does with the Phillies lineup tonight. Over the weekend, the Mets will wrap up this series with the Phillies. One more in Philadelphia tomorrow on Saturday. That is a 4:05 game. And then on Sunday, the Mets and Phillies travel to Williamsport for the Little League Classic. And that's a 6 o'clock or so, or 7 o'clock start on ESPN on Sunday night. So this will be my last video until after that game. So on Monday, I will be back to recap the Little League Classic, the 5-game set with the Phillies, and talk about the week ahead. So until then, I appreciate you watching the video. Follow me on Twitter if you're not already doing so, at Mr_Met. And as always, let's go Mets.